everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tracy. So I'm really excited about this video. I'm bringing you guys an upcycle. I am going to be transforming this dress. So I actually found it in my mom's closet. She was going through things she was going to go donate, and I completely fell in love with the print and colors. So I just think it's going to make an adorable summer dress. I think it just has so much potential. Another tip for beginner sewers, always grab something with a little bit more print, just because it will distract from any mistakes you make. I really hope you guys enjoy this video and can follow this tutorial and hopefully recreate it. So please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.
So this is how I sketch. I love using an app on my tablet just because it's really fast and I have an infinite amount of colors and I can just import the print I'm using and just draw and trace over it. And there's this cool symmetry tool on it as well, and it comes with different kinds of brushes and a whole other library you can download. I hated using paper and just wasting so much, so it was really nice for me to be able to transition to using my tablet. It was like 4th semester when we were finally allowed to do whatever we wanted. First semester we were required to buy like chart pack markers, and they were like $7 a piece. Very expensive, but they are also very toxic. They're actually illegal in California. Our professors would always be like, just have a window craft and you'll be fine. But I got a lot of headaches, so probably weren't the best markers to use. Now take your front piece and you're going to want to just go ahead and separate the skirt from the bodice. So now that you just have the bodice to work with, you want to go ahead and just cut around the neckline, leaving the front button placket. And I'm just removing this extra shoulder panel just because I don't need it for this design. So my bodice has pleats at the front, so I'm just going to go ahead and take my seam ripper and undo them all. I went ahead and ironed mine just so I can work with a smoother surface, since the pleats just caused it to be a little wrinkled. Those button pockets just have a button facing, so you want to go ahead and just trim it off. There's just a lot of extra fabric that I don't need there. I'm going to go ahead and overlock those ends so it's nice and clean on the inside. You can also go ahead and just zigzag them if you don't have an overlock machine. So I just have this mannequin. It's not a dress form, it's just a regular basic mannequin. So I just like to put on a bra that I have that fits well, and I just add some padding on one side just so I can get an accurate drape. Go ahead and take a tape measure and just measure from the top of your shoulder down to your waistline. Just place a pin there and take your measurement from your shoulder to wherever you want your strap to start. Grab your bodice and go ahead and just find the center front of that and pin it down to your center front waistline. And you want to go ahead and just kind of lay this over the bust and see where it lies most natural to that line. Take the other side and just go ahead and pin it down just so it's out of your way. We're only going to be draping on the left side of the mannequin. Place some pins under the bust and go ahead and just kind of play around with how you want everything placed. I'm just making sure this is my correct line, and I'm just going to go ahead and take all this excess fabric and just try to manipulate it as best I can to the shape of the bust. So I'm just kind of taking these small little pleats and pinning them down. I like the shape, so I'm just smoothing everything out and just gonna go ahead and pin the armhole down. So it's nice having this bralette underneath so I know how I want my shape, and I'm just slightly pulling this fabric to make it more tight and secure. Grab your ruler and just mark a 1/2 inch away from all of those pins. Just follow that armhole. Drop a straight line down from the armhole. We're just going to make this into a long cup shape since I want this to be a backless design. And go ahead and just trim off this excess fabric following your new line. With the pins at the bottom at the waistline, just go ahead and feed them in and out so they aren't pinned into the mannequin, just the fabric itself. And if you don't have a mannequin, you can always just wear a tight fitted tank top and then just go ahead and use safety pins to pin the top onto yourself, and just use safety pins just to do all of your markings. Remove the bodice off the mannequin, take a ruler, go ahead and mark a straight line. Go ahead and just cut that off. So just mark with a pin where the pleats start and stop, and go ahead and just take that measurement. Mine's about 2 inches. You want to go ahead and just take the pleat pins out. Fold the top in half, just make sure you line it up. You want to just go ahead and just copy that new shape onto the other half of the top. Just go ahead and cut it out. Now that both sides are symmetrical, you want to go ahead and mark the other side as well, the stop and start of those pleats. Now we're going to gather this area down to 2 inches. So in between those pins, you want to sew 2 lines 1/4 inch apart, and make sure you set your stitch length at the longest stitch length and don't back tack. Now that you have both sides with 2 rows of stitching, you want to go ahead and turn it to the back, and you see the 2 threads. You want to go ahead and pull those and you get this shirring effect. So you just want to shirr to 2 inches. You want to do this to the other side as well. And look how pretty these gathers look. I'm overlocking my armholes, but you don't have to because we're going to just do a double needle stitch to clean finish these hems anyway. And I'm just folding them down 1/4 inch and using a double needle to stitch right across. Take the front piece of the skirt and go ahead and mark the desired length. I want a pretty short dress, so just keep in mind this length is from your waist down to the hem. And mine was about 16.5 inches. Don't forget to add seam allowance to that measurement and go ahead and just cut that off. Fold the skirt in half. Take your waist measurement and divide it by 4. Whatever number you get, you want to go ahead and just mark it at the top of your skirt. And now you want to decide how much flare you want. My hem measured about 15 inches, so I just connected those 2 lines. Now you want to go ahead and just cut right on that line through both layers. You don't need to add extra seam allowance just because this fabric is a 4-way stretch and it stretches across the body, so it will fit perfectly. You just want to repeat the same steps to the back skirt, so they should be exactly the same. Lay down right sides together and you want to go ahead and just pin the side seams. I always choose to preserve the hem, but in order to sew a side seam, you're going to have to undo like 2 inches of the hem in order to get in there. So you want to go ahead and just undo those ends and go ahead and pin again. Take it to your sewing machine and just sew 1/4 inch. I'm just going to overlock mine just because it's easier, but you can definitely just use a straight stitch. It will work just as well if you are using a 4-way stretch fabric. After sewing your side seam, you can see how neatly it's done, and now you can just fold your hem back up and go ahead and use a double needle stitch just so you can mimic the same stitch at the hem, and don't forget to back tack. went ahead and overlocked the hem of my bodice, and now I'm taking right sides together, so I'm matching the center front of the bodice to the center front of the front part of the skirt, and I'm going in about a 1/2 inch at the side seams and then stretching this fabric to the cups. And I'm just pinning down securely. You can also baste these two pieces together just so it's easier to sew. I'm just going to take this to the machine and sew a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Don't forget to back tack. After attaching the bodice to the skirt, you're just going to have to turn this inside out and fold down 5/8 of an inch seam allowance all the way around the back. I'm just adding pins to secure everything in place. Now we can take it to the machine and just stitch with a double needle, and I am just sewing all the way around. My dress came with a 1-inch belt, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut it in half so I can use it as my straps. If you didn't have a belt on your dress, you can just go ahead and make some spaghetti straps. I'm just going to go ahead and fold the raw edge in and go ahead and pin it down and baste it just so it's easier to place onto the top part of the dress. Take the strap point of your dress and go ahead and put it into that tube, and you just want to go ahead and pin it down, and you can go to your sewing machine and just do a straight stitch and do the same to the other side. After the top of the strap is sewn down, you want to go ahead and just try it on and measure on yourself to see how long you need your straps to be, and then you can just safety pin where you want to place them, and you can go ahead and just stitch them right down. You'll see in my video that I tied a piece of extra fabric to the bottom of the straps to give it a lower back cowl. And this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.